You're listening to Errol Parker and Clancy Overall, editors of the Batuta Advocate, on Desert Rock FM. Welcome back to the Batuta Advocate radio show. You're dealing with the editors here once again. Bit going on in the news. Last week we spoke about tech. That was a bit interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was when that new Apple thing came out with, I'm just not really a big tech
Apple
guy.
View, Apple Lens.
The stuff came out with the technology Apple thing.
No, they wear. It's like infrared. No, it's like heads up. Bloody.
It sounds like you learnt a lot from the tech guys last week.
And what an exciting
really
review.
well.
I can't wait. For one,
I want those red stuff.
I can't wait for the Apple tech that's coming.
What the hell's it called? Apple View, I'm sure.
It's called the Vision Plus
Apple
Pro
Vision,
4.
yeah.
I think,
if it didn't have the Pro in it, I'd be like, not for me.
This must suck.
Not for me.
This can't possibly be Apple.
It's about 7,000 Australian pesos.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. I did find $5 in the LAX on the way here, and M said, "Oh, that's like 1,200 Australian dollars," and we laughed for a long time.
It is. So,
Yeah.
it is. It could get you at least 2 beers.
Azure.
What?
I know we share a name and we
Yeah.
share a podcast. So sometimes you can't just drop someone's name in and think that anyone's going to know who you're talking about. You were like, oh, and then me and M in LA.
No, we'll introduce the two of you, and then you can introduce us to M.
Why are you like that? I just don't know, why you're like that. They seem to be very, supportive of each other, not knowing anything about tech.
No.
But wanting to talk to us about
Apologies to the Down Round podcast. Thank you for joining us last week.
Yeah.
There was a lot we soaked in. But today's guests, we should introduce them before they begin tiffing, is the Antoinettes. Our first kind of multinational podcast, I guess you'd say, in that one comes through LAX.
As you've just heard.
Yeah, and
They said that because I'm black.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
no.
We're
I'm
just
the black
playing
one.
accents.
I'm the one.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Black.
term is in Australia to kind of tiptoe around that. I'd say this podcast is urban. Is that the?
Yes, it's like an urban fresh. An urban adjacent academic urban.
Yeah.
It's like an academic urban
Fresh.
fresh.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like General Pants.
It's like a
meets
general
hype.
Yeah, like General
Yeah.
Pants, half culture kings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Meets
The librarian, because that's me.
and Sussin.
Okay.
Sussin is
No, it's
S-U-S.
Suzanne.
That's not what it says. It says Sus Ann.
So that's one of the Antoinettes. That's Azure Antoinette. Thank you for joining us.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
Antoinette Lattouf, who is from, I would say, the beautiful Tuscan-like plains of Maryland.
Oh, it sounds is this in Western Sydney?
It is.
Kidding.
The best way to describe the school I went to is we had a 50% year 10 completion rate and a 75% incarceration rate.
Really?
So those are very impressive statistics.
So that's why you became prefect. It was kind of the talent was thinning out by the time you got to year
There
12.
weren't very many options. After having attended my first baby shower in year 9,
Yes.
there weren't many people left. What?
That was funny.
And we are the Antoinettes.
And that's what makes us us.
yeah.
So you guys are launching a new podcast show called The Antoinettes. Let them eat cake. Let them eat shit. Welcome to the bin fire. Welcome to the shit show. There's plenty of taglines that have been kind of rolled around with this one because it's so exciting to listen to. We've had a taste of it here, but you two, when you start getting into a subject and you're reintroducing us to the kind of old-fashioned art of not conversation, not really discussion, just it's almost like that arguing you hear the old ethnic men out front of the cafe. Like that. We don't know if they're friends, but they are. It's with love.
And what's good about this is that we are ethnic.
Yes.
So that's what makes it really a treat.
And like those ethnic men where you see them every
Yes.
week and they're drinking coffee and you're like, do they like each other? What are they saying? But then you see them again next week and they're there again. And that's going to be us.
Tell
We're
me
going to be
more
there
about
next
how
week.
I would know it was them.
Let me describe some.
Fisherman's hat.
Yeah, and they're sitting
Speaking
usually
in
on
Italian or Greek.
Yeah,
Okay,
Greek. They're
okay.
gesticulating mildly.
Backgammon.
There's backgammon. So they could be
Okay.
Arab, they're all Southern European.
Yes.
Irrespective of what language they're speaking, you don't know if they're discussing who their favourite soccer team is or if they want to kill each other because
Okay.
it's in the same tone of voice.
So this would be similar, akin to, I suppose, Friday is an American classic film. They sat on a porch
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah.
like
Kinda.
in places where there could have been a gang uprising or a house party or both.
Yes.
So it's similar.
it.
So it's the same,
Similar
really.
vibes.
Yeah.
It also feels like some sort of very affordable aged care.
Yes.
Yeah, where they just
Yeah.
leave them there to argue
Yeah.
and drink
Sure.
coffee
Yeah.
and stay
Sure.
alive because the blood's hot.
I
and they're-
love this.
Yeah, yeah.
It is, I think what's really neat about this, as a poet, classically trained, like that's my gig. It's so neat to be in company
Yeah.
of people who also can just off the cuff,
Yeah.
just really deliver a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Like the tapestry you've just painted
Yeah.
about the aged care
Yeah.
and the arguing and the ethnicities and the
don't-
different spaces.
You don't meet
It's-
many people that can do that in
Oh,
America.
it's not a lot. Yeah, it's tough. It's slim pickings. Yeah.
All Americans are media trained. I would say that every single one,
Mm-hmm.
every
I think
house
so.
fire, everything. There's someone on the street that gives a sensational soundbite.
I don't know if they're media trained. They're like excellent for viral memes.
Yeah.
They're not media trained.
They're just ready to talk. Whereas
Yeah.
Australians will go, "Oh, no, something happened."
Didn't
down
see
there. I
nothing.
didn't see
I
much."
didn't see nothing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
chased the robber down the street in my thongs.
Yeah.
I got him.
Yes.
I got him.
And I thought it was fireworks because it sounded like pew, pew, pew,
Yeah,
pew.
it's always.
Yeah.
We thought we heard fireworks. It's like,
As a crime reporter, when I in my early commercial television days, the two grabs that I was like, my work is done here was, this is usually a lovely neighborhood. It's like, bitch, it ain't, because last week I was here at another shooting and someone's doing a drug deal behind you. And then the second line is, and then I thought it was fireworks and I heard pew, 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 pew. I'm like, done, my work's done. Give me a Walkley Award, I'm out
I
of here.
really like the pew pew pew. I think that might be my favorite.
so, Lattouf, I'll start
Yes.
with you. You just mentioned you were a crime reporter. We've actually interviewed you before, and you actually were kind enough to feature in the Batuta Advocate Cronulla Riots history series that
Yes,
we did.
and you did quietly tell me that I was your favourite person in that episode.
I was, and it was a shame you didn't get invited to the premiere, but I blame Paramount Plus and Warner Brothers for that. So, I really,
invite
you
you.
know, and having seen,
Azure is so happy. But the best is the text when he didn't invite me.
Oh, far out. I know that must have been a Valentine's
No,
Day
it was
note.
funny.
it was a lot of gear
funny.
changes between like passive and
No, it was funny.
Don't she though? Don't she
Yeah.
just slip in? Yeah, she lulls you in with like a sense of like maybe biosecurity,
Yeah.
and then just like let me. And also another thing, trapdoor.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the feeling. So, you know, of the guilt of that, we said, all right, do you want to do a podcast or something?
That's how it's going to be.
No, that's not. It's what we've learned working with, or you know, in our dealings with Antoinette Lattouf over the years, is she is the school prefect, notes
Yeah.
and pens and everything like that.
Sure.
And would have made a great journalist. Would have made an annoying reporter though for an editorial, you know, team. Because you're like, oh, I have more to this story. We can do more here, and they're just going,
Yeah.
no. Just
And
you got the
nothing-
soundbite, you got the fireworks, and pack it up.
Nothing is off the record either. I mean, like it's like from everything you tell me, I'm going to tell the principal.
Yeah, right. Yeah, 100%.
Things.
100%. Yes.
But you are an incredible journalist. You've done a lot of work over the years in Media Diversity Australia, which was when you were the one that released those reports that were almost comical about the Australian media landscape. To the point where people were like, Karl Stefanovic is Eastern European, technically. You were kind
He's
of...
white ethnic.
Yeah. Haven't you seen the Sudanese guys on the door at the ABC? I don't know. And kind of have always been writing, but always following, I mean, and you've also published books and all that kind of stuff, but you've always been following, I guess, what is the current affair, right?
Yeah, social issues and all that jazz.
So now you team up with a poet.
Yes.
Who, Azure, would you say it's in any way, shape, or form a similar trade that you do? Or
Well, I think that what I find to be compelling about this podcast is like I have very little time to do poetry anymore. I spend most of my time as kind of a conduit or a conversation space for corporations of large size that are having spaces where they're trying to tackle diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of the work in the last couple of years has been reactive because proactivity would actually mean that we had an equitable society, which let's not everyone get unclear.
So reactive means damage control?
They were like, so this has happened, and we don't know how this has happened. Azure, are you able to come in and let's take a photo together?
Yeah. So like... okay. Proactive, reactive, similar to preventative and curative.
Yes. So it's been a lot of it's been busy. I like to phrase or title the last few years in America our summer of allyship. A lot of marching mixed with sourdough baking, and a lot of signs, which was awesome. And then they were like, "Oh, I've got to go within," and then. Just different people being like, the pandemic was hard because I couldn't have bread. Yeah. So, it's been a time of where I'm in different places, utilizing spaces where I try to help people just say less. Less is good.
Can I ask, are these people, when you come in the reactive capacity to something that's happened in a corporation, are these men absolutely horrified or terrified, or what the... Oh. Do they...
It's not only men.
Yeah, I have a fair...
Couple white women.
Yeah, there's they always come in with the... Well, we are so, thank you for making time. Honestly, we, in our ethos, we strive to, so what has happened? And they're sweaty a bit. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, this is troubling. And so all of this was pretty good until it was incredibly racist. Yeah. And so we probably want to make an actual apology, less of what you all are doing now, do less of that. They don't seem that the stress, what I have interpreted or witnessed is pressure, not a wrongdoing. You're not dealing with like, oh, we're horrified that this has happened. There are all of these sources and spaces that are not visible, and they've sent down some martyr that, usually has a really adorable title of like the head of people and culture, chief diversity officer, who is either rolling their eyes as they tell me what has happened or being like, well, we need to do all we can to support the movement to the moving. And we are definitely moving, and it is our belief to keep moving. And we would love to move. Help us move. And we have a policy of moving against we don't like discriminate. We discriminate. Could you help us?
We have.
I think where Azure and I really have fun is because I am such a school prefect, fixer-upper, come up with a plan and do things. And whatever the issue is, whether we're talking about Gwyneth Paltrow and amethyst crystals or whatever, Azure is like, this shit's crazy. It's really not getting any better. Let's just freaking laugh.
100%.
And let's just be here.
Yeah.
And when we stop, and just stopping and talking. Is where we're having the most fun and the best conversations.
Because it's not like the concept or the idea that like we're all coming into this golden age where like things are going to get better and then we'll walk down the street doing whatever the fuck people are always walking down the street.
Kumbaya.
Yeah, never. Kombucha, none of it. I have lived through too much and seen too much. So I don't find I'm an entire cynic, but I have become a really devout realist in the last few years. Yeah. And I enjoy people not being precious about what is actually going on. So I find that like I can always just have a real conversation with Antoinette because there are so many people being like, we can't say. I'm like, I mean, you can say. Yeah. You can definitely say. Like, I just don't think we need to act like this isn't going on. Like, stop doing that. It's weird. It's super awkward.
What's coming back? Because, there's wins, people take wins where they can in terms of an equitable society. Is there anything that you kind of like, ooh, it's gone? Actually, now it's back?
Oh, I guess...
homophobia in sports is kind of coming back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, oddly enough, it doesn't feel like nothing has abated. Nothing has been like, okay, well, that's done. Like, even if it did for a second... The nonsense was always so visible, and then it just came back to the front. Like, I have yet to see where I'm like, oh, I thought we were done with that. Other than like bad fashion, there's some things that I've seen happen, and I'm just like, oh, we shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah, everything always comes back. I mean, like, look at the Taliban.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
it
back
was
with a
gone.
vengeance.
Then it was like, all right, we're going to leave.
I
And
like that. It's just like
these guys.
mum jeans. Everything comes back.
Yeah.
Mum jeans and the Taliban.
100%.
We got rid of them.
Listen, and that's a blog right there.
And-
That's the whole
and
vibe.
They just,
Yes.
and they're both harmful to women.
100%. It's like, and that's why I stand for what I stand for. Because if you can't see how they're connected, you're the problem. Yeah.
This is it. This is what we've captured a minute here of the Antoinettes podcast.
And also, I would like to say, just in like
Defense of mum jeans.
because I love them and I love a proper waist, you know.
Mitt Romney loves them.
God love Mitt, what a sweetheart. It is not lost on us that it took a production team and crew of all white presenting males. You know, like everyone else is like, oh, you guys are a lot. Like, really? I don't think we are, and we're not causing more upset. We're just like, hey, it's okay. We gotta just chat about it. It's all good. So Antoinette was like, I have found who's gonna make this thing go, and I was like, great. Love it. I walk in and I was like, this is fantastic. I know I've run into these guys at the General Pants Co. I know it. I just know it. But I love the concept that it is a purpose and a mission to produce quality content that has the ability to get people to smile. Like we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere with all of the things that should be effective around standing for social justice, equity, human rights. Like none of that is trusted. God forbid a journalist does her job.
Yep.
And I think the interesting thing is when we first got together, like it was several months ago to put this show together, we were like, what's the theme of this show? And as much as we tried to plan, nothing. We could not have planned for what has unfolded in the world and in my life in the past 2 months.
Azure went to Vegas to.
And got married.
I got married.
Oh, yeah, you had a Vegas wedding.
A few days ago.
Congratulations, by the way.
It was fantastic.
But we cannot plan what happens in our lives.
You couldn't. And I know it drives her nuts. Like,
Yeah.
I come from entertainment, so, like, you never know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And they're just like, and be grateful. You're like, thank you, Sesamo, please. You know, but, like, the concept of what has popped off just globally and here specifically, I'm just like,
That's
well,
the shit show.
there it is.
That's the shit show.
There we go.
Lattouf,
Yeah.
have you learnt anything? I'm asking you this because Azure works in the space of presenting conversations to people in corporations where they might learn something. She's not, policing or.
Yeah.
helping.
Have you learnt, anything in these robust discussions and vice versa?
These discussions I'm having with Azure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in you because, like, it's usually the prefect that knows everything.
Sure.
So
Sure, 100. As
Well,
am I.
and Azure is helping me get more comfortable with the fact that there isn't a solution or a 3-step plan or a way we could put a bow tie and we can't circle back. You know, we started off with the idea of circling back, and so many of these things are so hideous that we just need to sit in it and laugh
Yep.
and unpack it and be okay with that discomfort and not try and be like, and in conclusion, after I have, rebutted the opposition's 3 points, this is how we're going to solve it. And I need to learn to get more comfortable with that.
in the grey area.
In that grey area, in the unfixable, because I think a lot of society sits in the unfixable, the wild, the weird, and the freaking hilarious. Grey doesn't look cute on me, but I'm learning to wear it.
You're doing great. I love it.
Thanks.
You're doing great.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You see what I did there? Great. Really great.
And Azure, what are you learning from this kind of militant, ladder up, immigrant kind of ambition?
It is.
I feel so judged.
Oh, you shouldn't. I think
You
it's cool.
described me as a red flag before. So
I mean, you 100%.
She's like, yeah, what are the 2 emojis to make me a red
Yeah, it's
flag?
like a red flag and like a LOL, or that one that's like,
Yep, the
which
blue.
I love it.
Yeah.
I am here for it. Like you have never presented yourself as anything other than exactly what you are. And like that for me, on like a real note, like just tell me who you are so I can make a decision. The concept of consistency, I'm here for that. Like I really enjoy that we can have like very honest conversations, and I always know where you stand. I think part of like my frustration, especially in the States, everybody's everywhere. No one will commit to a thing. They can't be bothered to stick with it. They want to change their mind all the time, even if they tell you, like, and I swear it, like, that's just not true.
Yeah.
So that I love. I'm here for it. I mean, it drives me nuts. But
What drives you nuts?
Oh, just your ability to just really be like, but also this and these 7 other points and these additional 8 points is why didn't you respond? And I'll be like, oh, what? I was like, why do you write like this? Like, why are you like this? Like,
So I think the question
roll.
was like, what are you learning?
What am I
What are you
learning?
learning and liking? I'm just not sure that was where this went.
She's circling you back here.
I'm just not sure that's where that answer went. But anyway, it doesn't really matter.
it went there, though. She's just, like, salty all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But, like, I know that, and I can really trust that that's what's happening.
So, in terms of conversation style, we have the tangential fluid over here, and we have the
Choose your words carefully.
railroad tracks. Like, stay on the railroad tracks
Yeah,
here.
like, don't get off of them ever.
Yeah.
Like, even when
I think you're the one who is trying to convince me to go on some stupidly, hectically long train ride thing. So you like railway.
Oh, now we're actually talking about rail transport.
Which is delicious.
Do you know they keep boxes of sand inside the Sydney trams in case it rains and they can't get friction on the tracks?
You're kidding.
That technology is as old as trains itself. I mean, like freight trains and stuff, when they're carrying a heavy load up a hill, they've got like a reservoir of sand that they have, and it increases the friction between the rail and the wheel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen somebody just not give a shit more than her right now? Like the 3 of us are invested as. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And she was like,
No, the whole time I was thinking is you've retained a lot of information about that sand, but not so much about the Apple eye goggle thingy.
I also was like, and now they want to
Yeah.
talk about tech.
Yeah.
I also thought that too, friend. I thought it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
well,
it. I'm with it.
I do like trains and aeroplanes and everything being in order.
Tell us
that's-
the train you caught in America.
Oh my God. I
So,
am so here for this.
I was doing the math on the first kind of week I had in New York, and I was like, I've spent a lot of money. I need to try to rein it in this week. And the original plan was I was going to fly some ungodly hour from LaGuardia
Yes.
to some like hellhole in the back of LA. And I was like, actually, I might just get the train over there. So I got like this train from Penn Station, but I had to go around the back because as I was going down, these cops came up the hill and said, there's an active shooter in here. So
Yeah, of course there is.
can you go back up onto the street and go around the block and come down?
Yeah,
So I went down that side.
Yeah.
Like it was a midnight train going from Penn Station to Chicago.
Yes.
Once I got to Chicago, I went on the Southwest Chief.
Yes.
These aren't cabins, by the way. This is
No,
on
so-
the cheap. This is
Yes. This is
So,
just
yeah.
main
Are you
cabin.
just
Yeah.
like sitting like economy style,
It cost
class?
it cost me $180 and it took me about 4 days upright.
Texas is an
Just,
entire day.
Yeah.
Texas is a full 25 hours.
Did you have to do this, or did you choose?
Well, see, because it took me that long, I didn't have to pay for accommodation. And
Because you can sleep and eat and sleep.
Yeah.
sitting up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
recline.
Well, it was okay for most of it because there was no one in the seat that was next to me, but you couldn't lift up the hand
Yes.
thing, so you had to
Yes.
like curl over like that. And then, so apparently they didn't tell me, but in parts of I think Kansas,
Yeah.
they transport prisoners
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the section I was in. So they woke me up and said, "Oh, this guy's in your seat," and he had handcuffs
was the
on
active
and
shooter.
on his foot, and
Yeah, right.
And I was like, "Oh, hi."
The Southwest Chief it's a time. I rode from
The romance
Chicago
of
through to Mississippi with a active Amish sect of 172 people.
Yeah.
And so
Were you
and
England?
it was at that point that I changed to the sleeper car, the roomette.
Yes.
Yeah,
and because I was
yeah.
like and it was a fragrant time because they brought all of their foods and the goods, and I just was like,
Yeah.
I've had enough of this. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so there were two places that you could eat on that train.
Yes.
There was the restaurant car. I went
Yes.
there once, and it was $18. I was like, "This is the most expensive meal I've had on my trip." So then there was like a canteen car where you could buy a bottle of water and
Like a hot dog. And
the holes that they punch out of a donut.
Yes.
Yep, they were $1, and a
holes
bottle of water was
Yes.
also $1.
Yes.
So I used to get 2 bottles of water a
Yep.
day and 2 packets of the holes out of the jelly.
And I'll have
The
you
romance
know,
of rail.
I'll have you know, in New Mexico, the stop right before you hit Albuquerque, there is a gas station with a full body size baby wipe. So the packet is about half of Antoinette's height, and it's a baby wipe that you can
For the whole body
for the
on the
whole
train.
body. Yeah.
So you don't have to shower?
Yeah.
There was one stop that we
More
did
than-
at Renton in New Mexico where there was this guy who hopped on a couple stops back, and he was like, how long is the train here for? Because they usually stop for about 5 minutes so you can hop off and have a dart.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then I just said, I think probably 10 sort of minutes. And he went off into Renton, and just as he disappeared from sight, they blew the whistle. And I was like,
Oh, that's tough.
this guy is going to remember my face for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And we left.
Fun fact when you
Yeah.
said have a dart. Do you know what it means to have a dart?
I do now.
I mean, I'm an Australian and I didn't know. So a friend of mine was actually, it was Brooke Boney, who's a Channel 9 presenter. We still work together, and she's like, I'm trying to find her in the pub. She's like, I'm just downstairs having a dart. So I went down to the darts section.
As you would.
Right?
Oh, the prefix.
And then I'm like, this is strange. I didn't think Brooke would play darts.
Yeah,
but like
but-
no
yeah.
judgment, but also a little bit of judgment. And then when I could not find her in the darts section
Yeah,
with the men
yeah.
one of them who'd like urinated on himself, then I discover, and this was, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah,
And then
right,
I
yeah.
discover that she is having a cigarette outside.
Yeah, and these are some of the things semantically that I have found to be challenging moving here to Australia.
There's lots of names for, enjoying some nicotine in this country. You know,
What
there's,
other one?
there's the Bricky's Breath Mint,
Yeah.
a Durry.
Daria.
Yeah, I heard of a durry. I just
Tina
wondered-
Turner, a burner.
Oh, right.
Having a lung lolly,
A lolly.
lung buster,
Who do you hang out with?
smokers.
Blokes. We hang out with both the guys having a dart and playing darts. Anyway, these are the tangents you can expect from the Antoinettes.
Like, literally, this is
and
us.
we only got this far because the prefect said, "I'm going to sit back and see where this goes," and we spoke about traveling across America by rail for 15 minutes. So that you can see there's a great yin and yang here between these two, and it's really the on track and the tangent coming to one with different opinions.
We don't always agree,
Yeah.
but we have fun.
There's a
And
few-
Azure, even though I don't write long, nice text messages like you, I learn so much from you, and I have so much fun with you. I won't ever say that again.
It's
Why are you
starting
laughing?
very nice this thing, but
Why
what was
are
the
you
first
laughing?
episode? Tell them the topic of the first episode.
You do it.
No, it's okay.
I
Did you
don't.
read the 17-page brief?
I've already forgotten it. I'm on the train having a dart.
Not allowed to do that anymore.
It is monsters and the
Like,
art.
Is it okay to still love the art of monsters?
This
Yeah.
is the topic number one of the.
Number one.
So you've met the Antoinettes, you've heard them in action. This is the first topic. Is it okay to love the art of monsters?
Yep.
Yeah. I didn't. Azure. I leave the driving and the trajectory to my brilliant co-host, and I wouldn't. I couldn't have picked a better one.
Yeah.
Monsters art and loving that. Well, like what a way to just dip in. What a way to get to know us, like
No,
a reception
to be,
area.
To be fair, it was off the back of you being a Grammy-considered artist,
Yes.
being in the States,
Yes.
me secretly hoping, yes, that you win, but
Yep.
also watching Chris Brown's category because I love Chris Brown, but not wanting to tell anyone I love Chris Brown because there are so many problems with loving Chris Brown.
Yeah.
And so, with the ACTOR Awards as well in Australia, it just got me thinking, gosh, I love some monsters.
And it's tough because this would be the second time on microphone you have now directly placed a synonymous line between me and the monsters. And so this is the second time that's happened. So I'll leave you to clean that up one more time.
Well, do you need me to clarify that you aren't a monster or that you're like a cookie monster? Like, or
Yeah.
sometimes just a sometimes
Yeah,
food
it's like
person?
well, you say you're like, and then this happened, and these heinous crimes happened, and is it okay to love the music? Is your thoughts? And I'm like, back to you, and what?
Have some monsters become monsters in hindsight? I mean, yeah, Gatsby with Picasso's a good one, but let's look back at Van Gogh. Was there an element of coercive control in him cutting off his ear and mailing it to his girlfriend?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of a lot of things
Some
going
people
there,
think
and
it's
it'd be
romantic.
almost impossible to walk through a museum. You'd have bare walls if you had to take off all the racists and misogynists and rapists off their walls. And so we have that conversation. How far back do you go? Which crimes are more egregious? And do we just get better at justifying continuing to consume the art of someone just because we really like them? And we'd be like, well, he did say he was sorry in an Instagram story he deleted 10 minutes later, so it felt heartfelt.
And like, I really do think that he's turning a new leaf. Yeah, I do. I was like, wow, what?
The best is when you get to the point of just hoping that they do.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I mean, he'll turn it around.
Yeah, it's like at the height of when sort of Mel Gibson was in trouble.
Yes.
You had people.
I think he's still in trouble.
You had people in Australia going, "Oh, well, he's really from Syracuse, and his dad came here because he's a draft dodger."
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like-
the distance
not really
Australians are
Australian,
very good at too. We'll claim anyone. Until-
he was our Mel Gibson, and now who's it? Did you give him to New Zealand?
Malibu.
He's the king of Malibu.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough.
Malibu.
Yeah. It's a tough time. Yeah.
But then again, everyone was kind of like, well, you did that incredible
We can still make
movie.
money from Mel's
Yeah,
movies.
and you made that really good movie about Christianity that we kind of
it was a
everyone
time.
watched.
Yeah, we
So-
do get confused often.
Mel Gibson obviously does those things, says those things. Many people would find those things unforgivable, and then goes and makes the first ever Hollywood blockbuster in complete Indigenous language. And you kind of like, that's what you now got to think about.
Yeah, so it does get to a point. In some ways, you're untouchable if we're talking about career
you've got money.
Yeah, career cancellation.
Everything. Yeah, the whole
At
thing
one
is
point,
that.
you have some have so much power or
Yep.
influence that's
Yep.
influenced other artists that nothing you or I do with our Spotify playlists is really going to change.
Yeah.
But anyway, we discussed that and R. Kelly a few times and a whole bunch of
Are
other
you
people.
holding on with both hands to R. Kelly?
No, not after we had a listen to a song he wrote for Aaliyah. No, that's got to go. That's gone. He's
Rest
gone.
in peace, DMX.
Yeah. It's
Well,
a time.
at least he's in jail though.
R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did get technically as cancelled as you can get, which is
Yeah.
go to jail.
Yeah.
I look forward to hearing this.
Same. Me too. I look forward to hearing it too. Sometimes I just black out. I just be in there like, huh? I don't know. It's nice to be, I suppose, able to move through the spaces of being able to experience joy and also talk about what's actually happening and what could be ailing or what is uncomfortable. I think a lot of people struggle to be transparent because they're too worried about whatever is filtered or cancelable or whatever those things
Yeah.
are. But being minorities, being women, being in the spaces that we have always occupied, whether it's popular, trending or not, like you just, it is what it is. Like it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we might as well have some fun.
Yeah, we might as well have a good time.
And the whole time while we're trying to sort out the shit of the world, we're
Yeah.
trying to sort out our friendship
Absolutely,
as well. And
man.
that's half the fun.
It is.
Especially with these barbs that keep flying. It's- and we're just early on the Antoinette, so I look forward to seeing this thing a season or two in when they've really figured out how to hurt each other.
It's gonna be fantastic, y'all. I just can't wait.
Azur's going to put me on a train.
It's
and
gonna be
like,
great.
We are recording an episode
That's
here.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Antoinettes. And I'm just going to read, I guess, the synopsis, because if you are listening and you've waited till the end, I'm going to summarize what's happening here. Antoinette Lattouf and Azure Antoinette, one uncommon name, two very different lives. What happens when an Australian journalist named Antoinette, an American poet / now we know crisis manager named Antoinette, sit down at the same table to tackle the world's biggest and smallest problems? Well, you just heard what that sounds like. So tune in wherever you get your good podcasts.
Yeah, like Spotify. What's that Apple one?
Technology.
Apple, what's it called?
Apple Pro cameras.
I
Camera
actually-
Vision
Goggles.
Pros. Yes.
Because I have a
Viral
Google
time.
phone, I use Podbean.
Yeah.
So,
Podbean, yes. Anyway, thank you.